Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, the topic for today's lecture is our introduction to neonatal medicine, or the field of neonatology. I am Professor Akmal Laik from the Department of Pediatrics at Afzal Said Medical College. In my previous lecture, we talked about the field of pediatrics, and today we will be talking about the basic concepts of medicine as they are applied to the newborn babies. Of course, you understand that we have defined a newborn period of life extending from birth till first 28 days of life. Please do not confuse it with the perinatal period, which includes the part of pregnancy, the birth process, and initial few weeks of life. And by consensus, the perinatal period has been defined as extending from 20 weeks of gestation till first 28 days of life. However, some people cut it at 7 days of life, so that should be clearly spelled out. Right. Just like we said that the children are not little adults, same happen is that the neonates should be taken as a separate period of life, distinct in many ways from adults and from children, and not simply as little adults with cutting the size to fit the young age, but they have a different physiologic and pathologic considerations. Right. All babies who are in the period between 0 to 28 days of life, they are not like each other. They have differences, marked differences. I am showing you two pictures. One, you can see a very small, tiny baby which is only held in a small mother's lap, palm. These are very small, premature, tiny babies which are born and being saved these days with a lot of expertise. The other photograph shows you a very healthy, obese baby, which is definitely looks overweight. He seems what we call as macrosomic. Seems to have a lot of fat. He's quite tall. He's quite lengthy compared to a normal baby, but again, he's a neonate. So remember that all newborn babies are not fitting into one category. They have their basic differences, which we need to know. Well, on the basis of duration of pregnancy, that is from the point of conception till the point when the baby was born. This is a period of gestation, and the babies can be born at any time. The term baby or the mature babies are defined when they are delivered between 37 completed weeks of pregnancy till 42 completed weeks of pregnancy. They are labeled as term or mature babies. Post-mature babies, when the babies are born after 42 completed weeks, and the premature babies are the babies born before 37 completed weeks, usually starting from 22 weeks or 20 weeks onwards till 37 weeks. These babies are called premature or preterm babies. This differentiation is based on the period of gestation. Well, the one very basic lesson that we all have learned and was very obvious to the people who were working in the field of pediatrics was that a newborn baby's survival, the chances of survival, the rates of survival, the morbidity, the mortality, all is dependent on two basic factors. One, what was the weight of the baby at the time of birth? And secondly, when he was born. That is, at the degree of gestational period, gestational life, intrauterine life, how much time the baby has spent in utero. So these two very important factors determining the perinatal survival. Of course, babies are born as tiny, as little as this one. He just can be able to fit in just one small window of a incubator. A very small baby who came to this world before he was mature enough. We can have premature babies. Well, we again said that the birth weight is very essential. So that means that every baby must be weighed immediately after birth of the baby. It is very important health indicator regarding the neonatal period of life. Preferably, we should use digital weighing scale which give you reading in 3 digits, that is 1.560 grams, like that. So these are more accurate, and the baby is being weighed without having any clothes on, preferably. However, in most cases, a pamper is allowed for weighing the baby, and that should be a part of every baby's medical record. Now, we understand that babies have a normal weight. Babies can be born with low birth weight or with very low birth weight. The normal birth weight at term usually ranges between 2.5 to 3.9 kg. Low birth weight, babies weighing less than 2,500 grams at birth, and very low birth weight if they are weighing less than 1,500 grams. We have other categories like extremely low birth weight and like other, but for practical purposes, a low birth weight and a very low birth weight definitions are valid in most cases. Look at these two babies lying side by side. What's the difference? Very obvious. One baby seems to be bigger than the other one. These two babies were born to different parents, but after 40 weeks of gestation. What is obvious? That one baby is grown quite well, near to normal. The baby has a normal length, normal weight. On the other hand, the baby on the other side is also born after 40 weeks but had problems with intrauterine growth retardation, and so the baby is having low birth weight, that is, his weight is far below the required standard weight. His length is smaller, his weight is less, although the gestational period is full term. These two babies will have different problems in the immediate neonatal period. So the survival of a baby in the perinatal period is directly affected by two important risk factors. One is what was the weight of the baby at birth. Of course, the babies who are born with a normal weight have maximal chances of survival. Those who are low birth weight, very low birth weight, have definitely reduced survival. And the second important risk factor is the gestation. The babies having a term gestation have almost standard normal survival with minimal mortality and morbidity, and those who are born either preterm or post-term have more complications and more risk of dying. Thus, it's very obvious that to survive in the perinatal period, it is the two important factors like the birth weight and gestation which are determining it. So it means that every baby at birth need to be categorized. Since it is not fit into one uniform pattern, so the baby need to be categorized. How do we categorize them? We have just learned them, but why? We want to categorize them because right at the time of birth, we will be able to select babies which are not term, which are not having a normal weight. So these are having a high risk babies. We select them and they require special care. There's a premature, post-mature, low birth weight, very low birth weight, growth retardation. All these are high risk patient requiring special care. So the physician who looks after these babies, immediately he can anticipate, he can predict that these small premature babies are bound to have these complications frequently. We learn that, but again, it is better that we anticipate the immediate medical problem of these high-risk babies and then start monitoring them and treating them. And of course, once these small babies, whether they are low birth weight or very low birth weight or premature or post-mature, once they survive the immediate newborn period, then some of them which are unfortunate, they may have problems on the long-term basis, which mean that they may develop complications of labor and neonatal problems manifesting after a couple of months or years, like developmental delay, like convulsions, like hydrocephalus. So we can anticipate the long-term prognosis, anticipate immediate problems in the neonatal period, and immediate selection can be done in these babies. Right. So this baby is just delivered, just newly born, let's say 10 seconds. Look how he differs from a healthy term baby. You can see the differences and appreciate them. The baby has got blue hands and extremities. The baby has vernix caseosa covering. The baby is wet all over. The baby is not having any clothes. There is a umbilical cord attached that was meant for the nutrition and oxygen and so many things. So this baby is just delivered. It is in the period of transition from the life of a parasite now to independent existence. The baby needs help. We understand that when the baby has been delivered, the immediate few minutes of life, they are very critical and very important for his survival. Look, in the fetal life, the baby was having the life of a true parasite. It was living inside the uterus, covered in many layers, surrounded by amniotic fluid bag, having a lifeline from placenta, giving him oxygen, giving him glucose, nutrients, and everything was given through placenta. It was all attached to the mother via the umbilical vessels, giving blood supply, and then the lungs, they were collapsed. They were not functioning as the gas exchange organ. They were collapsed. And there was a patent ductus arteriosus with foramen ovale, which allow shunting of blood. The baby was definitely in a state of hypoxia. The partial pressure was around 30, 33, 34 in utero, and the baby looked blue, and the baby had excess of fetal hemoglobin, something like 70 to 80%. Right. However, once the baby has been born and you examine him after the birth process, there are so many changes have taken place. The baby has now established regular breathing with functioning lungs. They are inflating, and now they are the gas exchange organs for the baby. The patent ductus arteriosus close हो चुका होता है, foramen ovale बंद हो चुका होता है. There is no shunting of blood. Now there are two parallel circuits. Placenta has been cut away, and the blood is not going to placenta and not coming from placenta. The baby is out of womb. There are all the layers have gone, like amniotic fluid, like all those layers have been removed, and now the baby is directly exposed to the outside environmental temperature. Initially it was mother's temperature, like 37. Now the baby is exposed to the room temp environment. Immediately when the lung expand, they start taking fresh air, the partial pressure of oxygen rapidly changes from 35 to 90 plus. Well, this is just telling you that the newborn survival, the morbidity and mortality in any country need special consideration. You see, worldwide, it has been estimated that something like 130 million babies are born every year, and out of them, something like 3 million babies die in the first 1 month of life, and then there are 3 million stillbirths every year. So total around 5.5 to 6 million births, whether neonates, live births, or stillbirths, are happening on every year basis. So that can be projected to around 450 neonatal deaths per hour. Also important to understand that with these important perinatal mortality, there are a number of deaths taking place due to reproductive reasons, something like 0.29 million mothers are dying every year due to birth-related causes. But where are they happening? It has been said that around 99% of these deaths, they are occurring in two areas in this world where the reproductive health facilities are not up to the mark. This refers to areas in the South Asia and areas of the Africa and the Sub-Saharan Africa. So this is a situation of the neonatal health at a global level, worldwide. Now come to the Pakistan. What is the situation in Pakistan regarding the health of newborn babies? It has been estimated that around 4 to 4.5 million newborns are being delivered every year. Out of them, something like 200,000 to 250,000 newborns are dying every year. Pakistan has a very high neonatal mortality rate, which means that 45 babies are dying before reaching first 28 days of life out of 1,000 live births. This figure is very high, even from the regional point of view, like India, like Sri Lanka, like Bangladesh. So all of them have better neonatal survival compared to the figures from Pakistan. The infant mortality rate is usually around between 70 to 75 per 1,000 live births, and the under 5 mortality is around 85 to 89 per 1,000 live births. The main point that I want to stress is that among the infant mortality, 60% of infant mortality is because of the deaths in the neonatal period. तो अगर 100 बच्चे मरते हैं इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी की वजह से, तो उनमें से 60 बच्चे पहले 28 दिन में ही डेथ हो जाती है. सिमिलरली अंडर 5 मोर्टेलिटी मीन कि वो तमाम बच्चे जिनकी डेथ 5वीं बर्थडे से पहले हो जाती है. Again, 40% of the under 5 mortality is happening in the neonatal period. So that means that the newborn period of life is very risky period, with contributing to high morbidity and mortality. So we have to exert and stress on the care of newborn babies in the first 1 month of life. Again, the same message being conveyed to you that if we analyze the infant mortality, you will come to know that 60% of the deaths happening before the first birthday, in fact, 60% of deaths are happening in the first 28 days of life. there has been improvement in the infant mortality and the neonatal mortality if we follow the trend from 1980 till 2015. You can see the figures in 1980 were that the infant mortality was around 130 and the neonatal mortality was around 65. There has been more rapid decline in the infant mortality, that is from 130 it has come down to around 65 to 70. However, the decline in the neonatal mortality in the lower curve is not very acceptable. There has been less decline in the neonatal mortality. It has only dropped from 70 to around 50, 45. So the result is very obvious that the neonatal mortality has not declined as much as the infant mortality. The question is that why the newborn babies are dying. There should be some good reason to explain that, and the different studies done in the community have revealed very clearly that the 50% newborns, if they die, they would die immediately after the birth, that is within 24 hours of birth. 50% deaths take place in the first 24 hours, and the remaining 50% take place till 28 days of life. Again, the first week of life is very important. It has been estimated that 75% of all deaths happen in the first before 7 days of life. So this is a very critical period for the newborn survival. Now, where are they dying? Unfortunately, the community practices dictate that the newborn babies should not be hospitalized. The delivery takes place at home, and when the baby is sick, even is not brought to a health facility for management. So ultimately they die, and they're never brought into any statistical counting. And these mostly belong to the poor and to the middle class population, something like 99%. Again, the question arises that why newborn babies are dying? What's the reason behind that? They are dying because of three important conditions which we need to understand. Infections, which mean either they die of pneumonia or meningitis or sepsis or tetanus or diarrhea. So infections, when you calculate them together, are responsible for 36% deaths in these babies. Similarly, when the babies are born either prematurely or they are having low birth weight, this reason will contribute to 28% mortality in the neonatal period. Some babies, unfortunately, do not start breathing immediately after birth, and they require help to initiate the breathing. If they do not get proper help, they die of birth asphyxia, and that is responsible for 23% of neonatal deaths. So there is a very clear message for all of you that infections, prematurely low birth weight, and birth asphyxia are responsible for deaths in the neonatal period. This graph again tells you that among the total 3 million newborn deaths worldwide, something like 36% of them are dying because of infections like sepsis, pneumonia, tetanus, diarrhea. Babies die. 36% die because of infection. 27% die because they were born premature or they were low birth weight. And 23% of them are dying because of birth asphyxia. All the three are very important, but they can be managed and they can be prevented. How it can be done? The neonatal care is divided into three different levels. The level 1 care, the basic primary health care given to the newborn baby, is level 1 care. So this level 1 care is to be given by LHV, Lady Health Visitor, traditional birth attendant, community health worker, a nurse, or a doctor. All of these healthcare workers should know how to give a normal care to the newborn baby. Babies, when they are born, they need to be handled in a clean, hygienic way. So hand washing. The baby is born anywhere but requires basic steps like drying, warming, wrapping under strict hygienic conditions, cord care, simple method like application of chlorhexidine gel for 7 days, cord to be clamped by plastic clamps in a clean way, and again after covering the baby, wrapping the baby, unite with mother. Next to the mother, there is what is called kangaroo mother care. The mother holds the baby very closely to her body, keep the baby warm, and start feeding. Exclusive breastfeeding on demand. The baby is not given anything other than mother's milk. No ghuti, no pani, no honey, nothing. No formula feeding, but simply exclusive breastfeeding within half an hour of birth. The baby start taking feed and free of any infection. Look at this young newborn baby being held in the mother's lap, healthy mother. The mother would feed the baby on demand. The baby is attached next to the mother. The baby is warm. Baby gets adequate milk feeding and baby is free of infection. The mother is ready to go home after having been delivered in a hospital. This is primary health care. The cord has been handled by chlorhexidine, and now the mother will apply the drug for 7 days and it will have no cord issues. Again, these are all mothers in a postnatal ward who look after their babies very well, and within few hours they will be going home safe and sound. Now come to the level 2 care. Some babies need it. Not all, but some babies. Those who need it. They have to be admitted in a maternity hospital, in a district hospital, in a tehsil hospital, as a special care nursery, a separated dedicated area for the babies. First thing is there should be limited access, that everybody is not allowed. The babies are kept warm in the baby cot hand washing facility is there. The babies may need oxygen, they need suction, they need resuscitation with a ambu bag and a face mask. There are baby cots, there are incubators to keep the baby warm, radiant warmers, and phototherapy units if the baby is developed jaundice. And of course, this special care nursery is being run by pediatricians who are trained. They are nurses and they are doctors who are trained how to look after a sick baby. So most babies can be managed here for their minor problems like diarrhea, like pneumonia, like asphyxia, like premature. They improve gradually and then they are discharged. Most of the community hospitals, they have a special care nursery very close to the labor room. This is just an example of how this is run. Incubators where babies can be kept. We can see one baby cot as well. We have phototherapy units. We have oxygen point, suction devices to look after the sick babies in any hospital. Then we have the level 3 neonatal care, which is called NICU, NICU. That is babies who require intensive care help. Say, the teaching hospitals attached to a medical college, their pediatric department usually has a level 3 care where there are monitors, essential equipment, facility for ultrasound, lab investigations, portable x-rays, parental nutrition, and most important, trained staff like nurses and doctors. They have facilities for ventilation. They have ability to have a cardiac emergency like ECG, like defibrillation, like monitoring. And of course, the babies who are very low birth weight, they have special problems of lung immaturity. They may require surfactant administration, which is again the domain of the level 3 units. And even with extreme degree of intensive care, very small babies, tiny babies, up till 22 weeks of gestation, less than 500 grams, even they have been saved intact in developed centers. Again, this is a picture of a intensive care nursery where there are ventilators, warmer, resuscitators, monitors, and of course, trained staff. A very important link is that the facilities are not given at every corner of the country, but there is a system whereby the sick babies who require intensive care, they are shifted via a proper transfer mechanism. First thing is of course that during pregnancy, if the obstetrician का ख्याल है कि this baby will develop prematurity, या this baby is not having growth, proper intrauterine growth, then this is the highest pregnancy. And this highest pregnancy should not be delivered in a periphery setting with no facility. Rather, they should be transferred to a better hospital, more equipped in a bigger cities. So it is always wise to transfer mothers either before labor or during labor to the obstetric hospital with better facilities if you want to save the babies. The planned referral of newborn is very important, that if you want to transfer a baby from periphery to a teaching hospital, to a big hospital in a big city, then you should have a prior contact with the center and tell them about the planned shifting of the baby from periphery to that big hospital. And of course, the babies are warm at the place of birth. The babies are warm in the big neonatal units, but when they are transferred from periphery to a long distance, the babies frequently become hypothermic and the warm link is broken, and that is very damaging. So please ensure that whenever the babies को आप ट्रांसफर करते हैं पेरिफेरी से बड़े हॉस्पिटल में, the baby should not be allowed to develop hypothermia. So there should be a good linkage, rapport, communication channel between obstetricians, DIs, LHVs who are delivering and then referring their babies to a bigger hospital for neonatal care. And during the transfer, do not let the babies develop hypothermia, hypoxia, or hypoglycemia. These are three main problems as a result of transfer of baby, so which should be well looked after. Now coming to the basic requirement that every newborn baby who is born, he should not be handed over to the mother, but rather the duty of every health worker, whether it is a doctor, a pediatrician, a trained DI, LHV, to examine a newborn baby thoroughly in the first 24 hours of life for any problem that he might face. We have devised the concept of a checklist कि जी हमें पता होना चाहिए एक डॉक्टर को जो कि MBBS जिसने किया हुआ है, जिसकी बच्चों में वार्ड में उसने काम किया हुआ है, कि what should be his normal finding of a newborn baby. He should weigh the baby and find out whether the weight is ranging between 2.5 to 4 kg. इससे ज़्यादा है या उससे कम है, ये भी आप नोट करना है रिकॉर्ड में. The length should be measured. Average length for a term baby is 50 centimeter with a range of plus minus 5. The head size again should be measured in every baby. For a term baby, it is between 35 centimeter plus minus 2 centimeter. The head circumference is between the occipito-frontal circumference, measured with the help of a tape that we will show you during your rotation to pediatric. Look at the baby's color. It is usually pink. The skin is warm and soft to touch. The baby is usually breathing with a breathing rate of around 40 to 60 per minute. This is normal. The rate above 60 are definitely abnormal. The heart rate should be counted over 1 minute. The normal heart rate is usually around 130, 140 to 160. However, above 160 is definitely abnormal. Look at the baby's posture and the tone. The babies are usually having attitude of flexion. That is, their arms and legs are flexed and in contact with the abdomen. This is quite natural because they were the same position in utero. So most of the babies, the attitude of flexion at arms and legs soon after birth. The babies are having activity, that is moving arms and legs, moving, crying. This all should be observed thoroughly. Then the examination starts from head to toes. Look at the baby's head, feel the head, touch the head. You will find anterior fontanelle, suture, posterior fontanelle. Any abnormal swelling is to be noted. Then you have the baby's face with the mouth, eyes, ear, they should be checked. Anything abnormal or unusual. Then feel the neck. They may having a goiter or they may having a fracture of the clavicle. Then the chest should be inspected. Chest में they should find out कि the chest movement ठीक हो रही है. Look at the abdomen. Gently palpate. Cord को आप एग्जामिन करें. जेनिटली आप एग्जामिन करें. बच्चे की लेग्स देखें, फीट देखें, एंकल देखें, हैंड्स चेक करें और फिर बच्चे को टर्न करें एंड देन लुक एट द बैक. स्पाइन कैसी है, बच्चे की बैक चेक करें आप ना, नॉर्मल है या कोई अनयूजुअल बात है. और फिर आखिर में हम बच्चे की हिप्स भी चेक करते हैं फॉर एनी डिसलोकेशन ऑफ हिप्स. Some children they have problems with the anus like imperforate anus or the genitalia. So anus and genitalia are not to be forgotten. This examination is from head to toes. So after having examined the baby in detail, we come to the conclusion, we evaluate, we assess. And this assessment means that we write down that this baby is full term, preterm, or the post term. This baby has a normal birth weight or low birth weight or very low birth weight. Or this baby is small or large for dates as a result of intrauterine growth. And finally, that this baby seems to be healthy or sick baby. As a doctor, young doctor, you must understand that the newborn babies have certain important physical signs that clearly tell you that I'm a sick baby, I have a problem, please do something for me. So there are certain danger signs in neonates. Danger for the health worker to understand them. Well, if the mother says that baby was previously feeding well and now there is no sucking and he does not feed once or twice, and this is a very important sign, maybe because of sepsis. The baby is drowsy, is not awakening and not crying, is not a healthy sign. If you touch the baby and he feels cold, especially his hand and feet, they are cold. Even without taking a temperature, you think that this baby is sick baby. Babies are usually pink, pale pink. But if the baby has got a blueness of the face and the trunk, this is very important and maybe having a cardiac disease, maybe having a respiratory disease or a neurological disease. So this is to be a dangerous sign. The baby's breathing should not be more than 40-50 per minute, and if he's breathing fast, rate more than 60 per minute, and there is chest indrawing. ये माँ कहती है कि बच्चे की पसलियाँ चल रही हैं, so that chest indrawing or the fast breathing is very important. The baby has fever, there is temperature more than 100.5 or develops hypothermia is very important. The baby has got mild yellow discoloration on the face, upper trunk is fine, is okay. It is physiologic jaundice, it is okay, no problem. But if he develops yellow discoloration all over, to the legs, lower abdomen, palms, and sole. This is very deep jaundice, and this should be immediately managed properly where facilities are available. If the baby usually passes 1 to 5 stools per day, is normal. But if they have very watery stool or the number is beyond the normal for that baby, this baby will become sick and immediately it should be managed accordingly. If the baby is not passing urine, they usually pass 5-6 times urine per day. But if the baby is stopped passing urine for more than 6 hours, then this should not be ignored. Of course, the babies who are very low birth weight, they cannot be managed independently by the mother immediately at home. Babies who are very low birth weight, less than 1500 grams, they should be thoroughly examined for any sickness. And of course, if the baby has convulsions, jitteriness, seizures, then this sick baby, the danger sign, this baby should be brought to a hospital, health facility. Well, I will now come to an end to it that we all want, that is, we have healthy babies in any setting. The babies should be kept in the mother's lap. They should be pink in color. They should be warm, should be sweet and aseptic, held by the mothers, and that is for optimum for the good survival. Thank you very much. Today we have done the basics concepts in the subject of neonatology. We'll continue next time as well. Thank you very much.